Okay, everyone. Well, good evening to everyone that's on the call with us. And thank you for joining us for our second health webinar presented by Caribbean American Association of New York, better known as CASONI, and Trimbago Progressive Association of the United States or of the USA. I would like to begin this particular series by sharing a bit of background about how the webinar series came to be. I got a few questions the last webinar about, how did this all come together? So I'm going to share a little bit with you. Okay. So the idea was sparked through conversations between Dr. Beckles, whom you'll hear from shortly, and Mr. Horace Davis, the founder of Casoni. So together, they envisioned a free public webinar series designed to strengthen our community's health literacy, promote like self-advocacy, and help dispel long-standing misconceptions about important health issues, especially health issues pertaining to the Caribbean diaspora or Caribbean communities. Okay. Dr. Beckles has prepared a brief presentation for us this evening. We kindly ask that you hold your questions until the end so we can have a more, I would say, focused and productive discussion. Okay. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Daniel Beckles. So Dr. Beckles is a Trinidadian-born heart surgeon with over 3 decades of clinical expertise in cardiovascular disease, education, and research. He is the Chief Medical Officer of Trinbago Progressive Association and has teamed up again with Casoni to bring clarity, awareness, and knowledge on some very important health conditions. Dr. Beckles is a very highly respected cardiothoracic surgeon, and we're truly fortunate to have him with us this evening to share his expertise and insights. Okay. I'm going to stop there with the introduction because I literally could go on for another 45 minutes and that would defeat the whole purpose of you guys learning about your health. All right. So without further ado, please turn your attention to Dr. Dan Beckles.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for your time. Your time could be spent so many places in this holiday season. So I'm just going to get my slides up and going here. Okay, good. Can everyone see my slides? So you're welcome again. It's a great opportunity. This is not just another talk about diet. This is really a monthly, webinar that was created to attract new health leaders in the community. So you don't really have to be a doctor or in the healthcare field to create a health legacy for you or your family. And so, or your church or your employees. It's really about planting the right seeds this holiday season and throughout the entire year for all our webinar series. So I hope you continue to join us with this series. So let's start with our own health and lead by example, is what I say. So welcome to today's Vital Session. I'm Dr. Beckles. Together we are going to unpack what makes December and January a very high risk month for what you can do to stay stronger and end this year with a real bang and success. So our last webinar in November, we talked about Diabetes Awareness Month, men's health, and we did a deep dive mode into that. We talk about the sugar bombs. Well, today we're going to talk about the salt bombs. So the goal is to really increase your awareness, bring clarity and massive knowledge and actionable knowledge, things that you can do. So no restrictions on this one. This is for everyone, every creed and race. So let's get going. These are my disclosures, and this is the topic. For those of you who want to take a copy of the QR code, you can take a picture with your camera and then send it to your email, and then you can look at it later on, or you can just put your camera over the QR code as I'm discussing it, and then it will go into your web page if you click on the link that comes up. So just some housekeeping. The agenda, this is our roadmap. For today, we're covering emotional and physical and cultural health concerns. So we're going to talk about the emotional cost of holiday stress, some science behind this cortisol, blood pressure, and stroke phenomenon, the top silent signs of a stroke and or burnout, how do we differentiate it, and why Caribbean men and women are at risk, or basically anyone for that matter. And this holiday season started in November with all the Thanksgiving feast and going all the way till New Year's, how we are at really a high risk. And we'll talk about 5 steps you need to do starting today, this week, next month, and 3 months time period. I'll outline it for you and where to go to get your screening. So December is a medically dangerous month. High stress, heavy food, poor sleep, and of course, cold weather. In New York, I heard is like, getting down in low temperatures, so nobody can go outside to exercise at all, often leading to the stroke phenomenons, heart attacks, panic attacks, ER visits. Our hospital is very busy, even down here where I am in the South. So why this topic is exactly that. But I want to emphasize that your longevity, how long we live, is tied closely to this wellness wheel that's taken from the Harvard website, right? You are at the center of these 8 dimensions, very powerful dimensions that are influencing our wellness. And I just want to habit stack that every time I give a talk. These dimensions have been shown, each of these dimensions have been shown to prolong life by a few years. And when you add them up, it is quite remarkable. And they're sometimes called the social determinant of health, whether you know it or not. So it's your choice to optimize each of these dimensions. And that can beat genetics most of the times. If you were to focus on these dimensions, it's more than genetics. Just remember that, compounded over time. So which of these would you prefer? Think about this, being reactive, right? Meaning I throw you a lifesaver when you are drowning, right? Or I give you a life vest to wear ahead of time so that if you're drowning, you don't have to panic, right? And this is where the whole healthcare system, the task of medicine is changing overall. The shift in medicine role is going from this reactive model to now a proactive model. And it's my job to bring this awareness to you and not be caught up in the old industrial age of how things are done. This is the old way of just calling 911 and an ambulance comes to your house. Well, today you can hire an Uber for cheaper cost, less than $10. You get an Uber ride and you can go and take control of your health by getting your screenings done, your ABCs checked before time. All right. And we're going to go over why that's important. So that's a huge, paradigm shift from this reactive mode where you come in with a heart attack to the hospital, you come in with a stroke, you find out that you have cancer when it's already spread. I mean, what can we really do for you except try and save your life in a reactive mode? Well, the new paradigm shift is you being proactive with all the technology that's rolling out. People can detect blood pressure on their watches now. I have a cardiologist here that detected having a heart attack on his own watch. I mean, imagine that. He saved his own life while having a barbecue. He felt some indigestion, what he thought was indigestion, but the watch said something different. So it's time that we get with what's happening all around us, is where we're being very proactive. And that's the name of the new healthcare system. You can see here traditional health, practices where, physicians, myself, were the authority, where we write a lot of prescriptions, right? And it was based on, population health and data. Now today, modern system is changing to where we are just guides. We're guiding you. What do you want? How can we help you? We're forming a partnership, really. We're collaborating with you. And it's based on individualistic care. What is going on with you, your family, your genetics, and how can we screen you earlier to find and prevent things? Well, when we look at it, you say, oh, I don't want to get needle stuck, right? I hate needles. I don't want to go and get my bloods drawn. But guess what? When you show up by not taking action and not knowing your numbers, your ABCs that we always talk about, have consequences, right? This choice is not knowing your numbers. It's like driving a car or flying an airplane without even knowing what your numbers are or what your gauge is doing. And then one day you just show up to the emergency room, call 911, and you're really crashing. Well, guess what? That's called the crash right here. This is the crash and burn when you show up and they just put you on a ventilator and you talk about you're afraid of needles. Well, you get stuck everywhere. They put tubes in your nose, down your throat. I mean, basically, this is not the way medicine should be. And that's why it has to change. When you look at what is our results, the life expectancy in the United States is clearly, lower than all these other first-rated countries, right? And we spend the most on healthcare than any of these countries. Then we spend something like 70% of our GDP, when the average country out there is spending 9 to 10% of their GDP. So it has to change, no doubt. Care is easier than ever. We can add an extra 20, 30 years and not die from something stupid if we just follow along with what the guidelines are And these are all preventable. It's all for us taking action, just like putting on your life vest, just getting your numbers checked. We know that 6 out of 10 Americans have at least one chronic disease. And look at this, look at the cost we're paying. $4 trillion is the cost. So when you say it's not expensive, it's very expensive. That's a lot of money to be paying. So one of the topics today is stress. So let's try and understand stress. Stress have different definitions out there. Okay, people talk about stress. They talk about, I'm burnt out. So there are different types of stress. So there's physical and mental stress, which we hear a lot, but there's also oxidative stress and inflammation, which is at the cellular level. Okay, we use these words very casually, like I'm stressed out, or you're stressing me out. But we have to know when we have stress and what it's all about and what it's doing to our bodies. So when you look at the American Psychological, Association, you can see here that stress affects on the body. All right, and they go over musculoskeletal, respiratory, cardiovascular, endocrine. It's basically diffuse. So what happens in our brain, how we take on the situations in our environment, it affects our whole body, but it also affects our health. What started off as a brief motivational situation, that's what stress was meant for, is that fight or flight hormone that's secreted to help us become a top performer. But what happens when we keep that turned on forever? Like we just keep it turned on. But that's the stress we're talking about today. That's called chronic stress. So there's acute stress that comes on and off. But what happens when that switch is just turned on and stays on is a big problem. And so we weren't created for that switch to stay on. So let's see what are some of the most common causes of stress. Yes, as expected, right? Things that linger on in our minds, life events, the death of a loved ones, a divorce, a job loss. The list goes on and on and on. We're not even aware of it, that these are stressful things, financial problems, that we have debt in the corner of our minds. We're thinking about it. Issues in the workplace, job insecurity, relation problems. Right? The list just goes on and on. You could just list hundreds of things, the environmental factors, lack of sleep, right? Discrimination, traumatic experiences from even childhood. And so you can see that what we think of as stress is it's deeper than we think. And we're not aware of it. We think that we should just handle it and man up to it. But you know what? It has its consequences. So when you look at the physical effects of chronic stress, yes, cardiovascular system, there's inflammation in the arteries. Immune system gets affected, digestive system, right? Musculoskeletal, endocrine, right? When you look at the mental effects, the most common mental effect is depression and anxiety that we see more and more. Well, look at Harvard Health, publishing. Prolonged stress may increase the risk of dying from cancer. When you think about, why did this 40-year-old person get cancer? Trace it back, connect the dots. You realize that they were very stressed out. You may not have known it, but stress does affect our health in general. So work stress linked to poor health, chronic stress, women have increased risk for stroke, toll on the heart, GI disorders. I mean, you name it. You could just list all these topics that stress has now made itself into mainstream medicine at every level. And there's something called generational trauma, that people that were traumatized when they were a kid and it's still unresolved. You got things like, talk to the hand, where you don't want to talk to family members and you just put it on the back burner and you say, hey, I can't deal with this emotional stress right now, right? All of these things, it's vague, but it adds up. It burns us out when we keep thinking about it. And what does it end up as? Panic attacks, sadness, depression. Those are the most common end results. So chronic stress is not an emotion. It's actually chemistry. Chronic stress is connected to chronic diseases. You can see here, chronic diseases, chronic stress connected to these chronic diseases right here, right? It's connected to heart disease, neurodegenerative disease. We talk about diabetes, autoimmune, even cancer. It's connected, guys. All right. So when you look at 20 million people dying of cardiovascular disease in the world and another 10 million dying of cancers, 30 million deaths cannot lie. All right. So this is serious stuff. Now, when we look at the blood and biomarkers, when they draw bloods from people that have atherosclerosis, Parkinson's disease, even pancreatic cancer. What we see is an upregulation in what we call stress substances. We call it cytokines. We call it neurotransmitters. We call it catecholamines. We have all these different names, but you draw the blood on people with these stress-related diseases like hypertension, we see that the blood markers are elevated compared to normal. Look at this pathway that maps out in this neuroscience journal. Regardless of the upstream stress, psychological, material, pathosociological, it doesn't matter what the stress is. It activates the brain chronic neuroinflammation system, okay? Sympathetic nervous system, the hippocampus, pituitary axis. The whole point is it affects inflammation at the blood level. It affects all multi-organs. It affects liver dysfunction. And so, yeah, just water me some stress and watch and see what grows. Cancer, neurodegenerative disorders, metabolic diseases, and cardiovascular diseases. Okay, this is very well depicted in a neuroscience journal. Even the CDC puts out here that chronic stress leads to strokes, heart failure, cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, heart attack. So the connection is clear today more than ever. The worst that I see as a cardiac surgeon is when people come in with what's called, I guess they have different names for this. It's called the broken heart syndrome. Stress cardiomyopathy is what it's called. And when you get the history from the patient, you realize that they had a very stressful recent episode, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a breakup. You get the history, and guess what? It gets better on its own when you just treat the stress, not with medicines or a heart transplant. It gets better on its own. All right. So it's very important to recognize. So there are even stress health journals out there now. Here we go with Wiley's journal. And even the National Institute of Mental Health is out there giving us warnings of how to treat stress and anxiety. So how is that connected to the Caribbean New York connection? We live a less stressful environment in the Caribbean. Walks on the beach, going to your favorite beach, hanging out, liming with our buddies, right? Favorite island beaches, and we eat healthy. We eat, fish soup, a natural seasonal. We have fruits, we have mango, right? We have, preservative free. And then we come now to America and New York City. And we join this sort of hustle, longer working hours, some people holding 2 jobs, right? I had an aunt that basically died as a nurse working 2 jobs, hustling, right? Guess what? She died of cancer. It was real fast. It's crazy like how these things happen, right? She's a nurse. You figure she's healthy. It's a lot of stress, stressful commute, chronic exhaustion, cultural expectation to just push through it. Yeah, you can do it, man. Be mentally strong. They have dual responsibilities back home, parents living longer. Some people are single breadwinners in a family, right? That's stressful. Holiday gatherings, even more stress when people don't talk to each other. There's emotional pressure, there's spending pressure, financial burdens, credit card. The list goes on and on and on. The point is stress is everywhere. And whether we're equipped for it or ready for it, we want to be aware that it's out there, because stress, the effects, it isn't just emotional. I said it's chemical. Raising stress increases cortisol levels, stiffens our arteries, raises blood pressure, destabilizes our brain body balance. Releases that cortisol, causes stubborn belly fat to just stay there, just will never go away. It triggers migraines, weakens our immune system because we get cancer from it. And of course, yes, it increases stroke risk. So very important to be aware. Let's move on now to strokes and blood pressure. What is a stroke? So a stroke is when, basically blood vessel going to our brain is blocked, or it can burst, right? It sounds like a plumbing problem. Yes, but it happens in our brain, and that affects everything. And every 40 seconds, 90 patients before I end this webinar would have had a stroke and end up in the emergency room in America. Imagine that. In the United States, right? And why is that? Is it because we don't have enough hospitals? No. Is it because we don't have enough urgent care centers? No. It's because we didn't check our blood pressure. It's preventable. If we know about it, we can prevent it from happening. If you know what the pressure gauge is saying on a car, you know that you need to stop the car and take a break and let the engine cool off. But that's exactly what's going on here. We need to take a break, because I discussed last time, and we spoke about cardiovascular diseases, but we talk about this 20 million deaths. And high blood pressure is the number one cause of why people die. So statistically, when we break that down now, the cardiovascular diseases, that 20 million people, 9 million die from a heart attack. That's called ischemic heart disease. But another 6 million die from strokes. And that's the topic today. Is tying together strokes are very common and it's caused by high blood pressure. Now, there are two different types of stroke. The most common type is the same kind that causes heart attacks, which means blockages in the arteries on the heart. Well, here it is blockages in the arteries going to our brain. Okay. The other 13% is just the artery just ruptures and bursts just because the pressure is just too high, and that bursts inside of our brain. So, well, how can we prevent the most common stroke? Yes, ABCs. So back to ABCs, getting your A1C, your blood pressure, and your cholesterol check. Someone, mentioned to me, yes, cholesterol need to be talked about. Yeah, that'll be our next topic in January. So stay tuned for that and how that's going. So what is a stroke? It's a brain attack, just like a heart attack. Blood supply is cut off. Every minute is cell death. How long can you hold your breath? How long can you hold your breath to save your brain cells from dying? That's exactly how fast you need to act when you see a stroke. Okay, we are at highest risk for it, this population. And holiday, it's a real spike. How do you recognize it? There are these mnemonics by the American Heart Association called FAST, which means there's facial changes, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time is of the essence. Just call 911 and get to the hospital as soon as you can. From global data, right, I just showed you almost 20 million people die of cardiovascular disease, and that includes stroke. Stroke is the leading cause of disability. So even if you survive a stroke, you're disabled. So it takes away your freedom from walking, right? Some people die in their sleep because guess what? When you get a stroke, you can't talk, you can't shout, you can't call somebody and say, hey, call 911 for me. You just stay there and that's it, right? So holiday months are the highest recorded. Stress-related conditions are rising globally, and 80% is preventable. So let's not get caught in that. When we narrow this down from global data now to US data, 1 in 3 adults, I think almost half the US adults have high blood pressure. The Caribbean population is at high risk. 55% don't even know that they don't even have the blood pressure under control, and they have a diagnosis for high blood pressure. And like I told you before, a stroke happens every 40 seconds. Caribbean data, same news, except high sodium diets, processed imports, right? Heavy salt, cooking. We have salt fish. We have a lot of things with salt. You just have to be aware when you add that to it without knowing what your blood pressure is doing, it could head for a disaster. This is the newest watch that came out by, Apple. And guess what? It measures high blood pressure. That's the game changer right there when people are detecting these things now in what's called wearables, right? Where your watch and telling time can tell you if your blood pressure is high. So let's go back to this Lancet article. This is a Lancet article 2021 looking at what are the global across all continents, looking at the national burden of stroke and its risk factors. Great maps, but just to show and highlight high blood pressure on all continents. Global, it's number one cause of all strokes. It doesn't matter if you're in Europe, you're in the Caribbean, you're in Africa, everywhere. Okay, it's global. It's not just United States. It's everywhere, right? There is hypertension recognition day by the World Health Organization. Again, control it and live longer. It's that simple. You couldn't get simpler than that. When we look now at this other Lancet article, which has taken academic journals by storm, you look at what are the dietary effects, what causes mortality, and just diet alone. Just ask one question. What in our diet is killing us? It's that simple, right? So we look at 2017, 11 million people died. When we look at those deaths, we say, okay, what is causing the number one cause? Diet high in sodium. Wow. That's a shocker. Diet high in sodium, hypertension is the leading cause of death, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. You don't really have to be a doctor to figure this one out. Okay. Salt is killing us. Clearly, it's the number one cause. When you look at now the next 5 causes in the diet, it's actually not excess of anything. It's omission. What's missing from the diet? So I'm telling you to eat more. I'm not telling you to go and starve yourself, right? Don't eat salt, but look at what you need to eat more of. Grains. Whole grains is missing. too much processed foods. You want whole grains in your diet. So I saw that they have black rice back on the shelf, purple rice, things I've never seen before. Diet low in fruits. So I'm telling you, eat more fruits. Diet nuts and seeds. I'm telling you, eat more nuts and seeds. Diet low in vegetables. Get your vegetables, groove on. Okay, diet low in fiber, eat more fiber, seafood. Everything here is omission. So we're telling you here from this one slide, eat more of certain things, but just cut the salt. And when you look at what is the American Heart Association recommendation for salt, and I want you to really zoom in on this because there's salt and there's sodium, two separate metrics that we're looking at here. But either way, the American Heart Association is recommending a certain amount, like 1.5 grams or 1,500 grams of sodium, whereas the World Health Organization a little bit more lenient, looking at the world, not just in America. Either way, every single continent is higher than where it should be. All right. So that means we're just overdoing it. And then look at our kids, 6 to 10 years old, 11 to 13 years old, 14 to 18 years old. Yes, the food have a lot of salt in it, and our kids are consuming it. All right. And that's where we need to be aware of that. Here's another state-of-the-art article, salt reduction to prevent hypertension. What a novel concept, right? But what's the conclusion? High salt intake is a top dietary risk factor in all countries. And this is a top scientific journal. And what they've seen here, let's go through this pathway after all the scientific data accumulated, put together in the Scientific Journal of the American College of Cardiology. What does salt do? It activates the inflammatory pathway, right? It destroys our gut, microbiome. It triggers immune response, blood vessel damage, hormonal pathway, you name it, it destroys it. When you look at which organ now is affected, cardiac, brain, kidney, okay, wow, all organs are affected. Does it kill people? Yes. Mortality every year that is preventable. Couldn't get easier than that. When you look at all the meta-analysis out there, people who have normal blood pressure, which is normal tension, or hypertension, no matter how you look at it, all the meta-analysis shows that blood pressure decreases when patients are put on a salt reduction diet. Simple. First step, cut the salt out, watch your blood pressure come down. Okay? Now, how much salt? And this is where people start going, ooh, well, guess what? 1 teaspoon per day of salt. Yes, I know I said it. Why? Because foods naturally have some sodium in it. You don't need to add more to what is already detrimental to us. So where's all this salt coming from anyway? Why salt? Well, look at it. 70% of salt comes from what? Processed foods, restaurant. How do you think that one restaurant have oxtail tasting good and the other one not good? All you have to do is add more salt and guess what? It tastes yummy, right? That's it. So that's the competitive advantage. They make more money for selling food because it tastes better. And guess what? Your health suffers. It's that simple, right? So here's the hidden salt. Canned soups, bread, those seasoned packets, the Maggi cubes. Yeah, let's add some Maggi in there. Salt, butter, right? Frozen dinners. How do you think the dinners stay frozen for months? Is because they had salt. That's the preservative. Deli meats. Look at the label, sodium nitrate, right? Breakfast cereals, condiments, right? So these are where the hidden salts. Seasoning cubes, salt fish, right? Soups. But here's the hidden salt for our kids. The pizza. The slice of pizza every day in elementary and in secondary schools. And you times that by 5 and 10 years, and you want to know why they're getting so much salt, right? These are the habits that's in the school system trying to get rid of these processed foods. So how do we treat this? You don't need to stop eating Caribbean food. You just need to reposition it. So reposition means you simply need to put 25% whole grains, 25% lean protein, and then 50% fruits and vegetables on the other side. Just reposition it. Start with your veggies first. Drink water, cut out the sugar like we talk about in the diabetes seminar. This is, again, what it should look like. And they actually did a study, and they showed that you need, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Well, it's only 2 servings of fruits and 3 servings of vegetables. So let's start getting those vegetables out, guys. That's where the real food is medicine comes from, is the fruits and vegetables is key for better health. Again, the rainbow colors, we see it everywhere. Doctors are learning that one of the best ways to reduce inflammation lies not in the medicine cabinet, but in the refrigerator. It's in your refrigerator. Food is medicine. This is where it comes from. not processed foods, good vegetables and fruits. Now, I just want to take away some of the fake news. This is a British journal and basically looking at 35,000 patients and looking at which is the best diet. And so Mediterranean diet, hands down, has proven itself to be the best diet when it comes to cardiovascular diseases. Okay. And it has a lot to do with, yes, the olive oil, again, fruits and vegetables form the basis. The Americans came out with their DASH diet, which is again for hypertension, but it mimics the Mediterranean diet the same way. Nuts and seeds, beans, fish, whole grains, fruits and vegetables. See, all the common things that we just talked about in the science journal come in here in real. Limit these things. Yes, I know, the tasty stuff. Limit it. You can go to this website, myplate.gov, very easy to remember, myplate.gov, and it's extremely interactive. You can download the app. It gives you a grocery list of exactly what you need to get. So let's go over some myth busters, because we really want to get and throw out a lot of things that we have some beliefs. So we want to get rid of those beliefs. If it doesn't hurt, I'm fine. Well, guess what? High blood pressure is actually one of the classic silent killers. That's why it's called silent. You just appear with a stroke or with a heart attack. Most strokes have no pain, no symptoms, and it's silent. Real men don't go to doctors. Well, guess what? Getting screened is strength, not a weakness. Prevention is leadership. So step up and get things done. It's just stress. I need rest. Well, chronic stress, I just showed you, raises your stroke risk, raises heart attack risk, and it's not harmless. It's very harmful. Salt is Caribbean flavor. We can't change it. Really? Season with herbs, thymes, bandania, shadow benny, you name it. Spices, spice it up. Spices, garlic, onion, celery. You put all those things in there, you really don't need the salt. Trust me. Flavor doesn't have to cost your life. Just remember that this holiday season and for the rest of the year. Strokes only happen to old people. I'm going to show you some data. Younger Caribbean adults are actually having higher stroke, and that's related now to lifestyle factors. If I take my meds, I can eat anything. I tell my patients, you know what? Medications were made to sort of get things under control immediately, just like diabetes, get it controlled. And then you work on what's going to take some time, which is your lifestyle and some new habits. It's going to take some time. And when your blood pressure and your diabetes and your cholesterol come back to normal, then you can get off the medications, but with close follow-up. It's possible to come off your medications, but you have to take your medication. It works best, and you have to be serious about your health. People will think I'm weak if I talk about mental health. Nope. Silence is the real danger. Emotional health matters too. Diabetes run in my family, so I'm doomed. Remember we talk about Eric Adams, New York mayor. His mom had diabetes, and he thought, yeah, well, maybe I'm going on that pathway. But guess what? He proved that wrong. So let's prove everybody wrong. It don't have to be genetic. It have to be our choices. Bush tea is all I need. Herbs can help, but let's not get faked out. Okay. Again, make some serious changes, just cutting the salt out and then rechecking your blood pressure, and you go from there. If I feel good, I don't need a checkup. Well, I just showed you what it's costing us. It costs almost nothing to get a checkup today. Most screening is free. This is, again, data showing that up to 25% of males and 13% of females aged 20 to 34 have high blood pressure. These are the same people that left for 20 years. You want to know why they have a heart attack at age 40, why they have a heart attack or a stroke at age 50. Well, it's because you had high blood pressure early, and over time, here's the effect of the compound effect. So it's not just old people disease anymore. Hypertension could happen to anyone. So getting screened, it's now part of the guidelines to get screened in your 20s. You want to aim, they keep going lower and lower. Oh, we always thought 140 of the top number was good. It's not good. Let's not get faked out again. The top number have to be 120. Now, as you get older, we can be more permissive, but that has to be done under a doctor's watch. It could be elevated up to 130. Again, with a doctor's care, if you need it. If you're 120 and less, congratulations. You don't have high blood pressure, the number one killer on planet Earth. Enjoy. Now, remember, high blood pressure is the leading cause of stroke, leading cause of heart failure, leading cause of kidney failure, second leading cause of why people on dialysis, right? And it causes blindness, and we talk about aneurysms. So how we differentiate stroke? I just showed you FAST, which is facial changes, arm weakness, FAST, right? But burnout is a little bit different. It's very vague, sudden fatigue, you have insomnia, You may have some appetite loss. You have social withdrawal, right? Mood changes. That is more burnout compared to a stroke. So if you're feeling tired, that's not a stroke. All right. So let's be clear. So salt, stress, salt, and blood pressure, as my topic said, it's a holiday disaster. Okay. And so we just want to, as we go through this, holiday season, we want to basically lead by example, cut out the salt, watch what we eat. When we talk about, you know, cost, cost of disease versus cost of prevention, look at the cost of these things. The cost of a hospital admission, 20,000 to 80,000. Imagine that. Imagine if you don't have insurance, but if you have insurance, somebody have to pay the bill. Stroke care, up to $100,000 for a stroke. What's the cost of getting your blood pressure checked? It could be free. You go to any pharmacy, you go to one of our health fairs, you get your blood pressure checked for free. A blood pressure machine could be $40 in CVS at the end of the day. $40 compared to the thousands of dollars, which is more cheaper. Here is the government website of all the insurances out there. It shows blood pressure screening is free, cholesterol is free, colorectal cancer is free, mammogram is free, hepatitis is free. All these screenings are free on the government website. And so for people who have insurance and have a job, please get your blood pressure checked. All right. Hope is in the numbers. That screening is actually rising, but boy, so slow. It's hard to see. It's going up so slowly. And this is why I'm doing these webinars, is to really get the word out. People need to own this and really embrace it, especially in our Caribbean and New York communities. Faith-based programs are transforming communities. Churches are now, I just found out that the church is having blood pressure screening every Sunday. Like, wow, that's phenomenal. So they have a nurse in the audience and they're basically screening blood pressure, because otherwise the pastor is just losing. You have to call 911 in the middle of a service, right? That doesn't sound nice. Families shifting towards healthier cooking. That's good to see. And decreased smoking is throughout America, but people are starting to pick up this vaping stuff. So they just got to cut that out. So please don't fall or skip your routines. Don't fall for this holiday trap this season. Okay. The late nights, missing your medications, fried foods, sugar bombs. I call it sugar bombs and salt bombs, the alcohol, right? The pressure to look happy, right? It's really emotional overload. Okay. Remember, walk with your health kit. Make sure whenever you're going and traveling this holiday season, walk with your blood pressure cuff, walk with your diabetes strips, walk with your medications. Don't just ignore it for a week and think everything is going to be fine. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the ER. So let's go over now what we're going to do, what we're going to action steps. Stress is a form of inflammation. The brain is turned on and we weren't created to do that. It's meant to rest, having a positive mindset, meditation, deep breathing, boundary setting, sleep hygiene. You have to get your sleep. You just can't think you're going to stay up all night. Take that daily walk. Don't stop walking. Not because it's cold outside. Go to a mall. Don't shop. Just walk in a mall, finger shop, but please don't waste money. Talking to family members, make it call and just make a phone call and call a friend. These are some of the real gifts out there. It's just taking time to talk to a relative and a loved one. Okay. Exercise regularly, relaxation techniques, all emphasized here on this slide. Manage your expectations. Don't get overwhelmed this holiday season. Just put a list, a checklist, and prioritize what you have to do. Just get the top 3 things done. Take a moment, just relax, just shut everything off and just deep breathe, do some meditation. There are all these free websites and apps on how to do meditation out there. So do that. Let's talk about sleep, rest, reset plan. They say that when you watch your phone and TV, that basically activates your whole brain and you really can't go into REM early. So try and avoid screens, all screens for an hour to 4 hours before you go to bed. It's so simple to do, simple not to do. Eat earlier so you're not eating late at night and having your body up all night trying to digest some of those heavy foods. And I totally already cut out the salt. Cool the room down. It works well to go into sleep much better. And you have a relaxation routine, go ahead and do it. Whether it's hot cocoa, whether it's just a nice shower, whatever it is before going to bed. So get that sleep going. For a decade or more, the American Heart Association had simple Life 7. But guess what? This is so important that they actually put sleep and made it 8. They wouldn't have made it 8 unless it was important. How important is it? It's as important as stopping smoking, checking your blood pressure, checking your cholesterol, your lipids, getting your weight down, checking for diabetes, and exercising, and what you eat. It's just as important that they had to put it in there. So just imagine if it's important for them, please don't ignore it. All right. So manage stress. If you could just do a couple things, is cut the salt, try slowly, cut the salt by 50%, walk an extra 15 minutes a day, check your steps, get your meds on time, sleep for 7 to 8 hours in darkness, and call one person for support. If you could just start with these 5 little things, I think you would make a huge dent in moving forward for the new year coming. So that's really the reset plan. The stroke plan is just as for blood pressure. Just lower your salt and everything should work out fine and get your blood pressure under control. Movement plan, they say all you need is 30 minutes of exercise, for 5 days a week, and you should be on par. And again, this is what we call educational stacking. I'm going to say the same thing on every talk to emphasize that walking is important, getting your exercise in. Where to get screened? Again, everywhere is available. We're all here. We all prefer to do the screening for free than to have to treat a stroke victim or patient. Okay, so let's catch up. So 3 things today. What are you going to do? Yes, drink more water, stay away from soda, walk for an extra 10 minutes, or do some jumping jacks, do 100 jumping jacks, reduce your salt, and check your blood pressure. And let's try going to bed earlier by 1 hour every day. Try and get that habit. When you look at the blue zones for people who live to routinely above 100, what do? They say always do these 4 things and try and afford these 4 things. This is on their website, right? Increase whole grains. Wait a minute, where do we see whole grains? We saw whole grains was missing from the diet as the number 2 leading cause of death when I showed you that slide, right? What do they do in places that live to 100 years old? Wow. Whole grains is emphasized in the diet every day, always, not sometimes, every day. A handful of nuts a day, right? Wow, simple things to do. They didn't say a bucket full, they said just a handful, right? Don't overdo it. It has fats in it. A cup of beans a day. And fruits and vegetables. Look at how many servings, 5 to 10. All right. I'm not saying you have to do this, but I'm just saying the people who live to 100, that's what they do. We can learn from other people. We can learn from other communities. And this is not just in one area. This is all over the world, the blue zones. Of course, stay away from sugar, salt, and processed foods. I don't have to say that again. When we look at just, taking a normal cell, our cells are attacked by free radicals, right? And then these cells can die. When you look at an apple, same thing as a fruit or anything, you see these free radicals attack. You see some discoloration happen, and the apple can rotten, right? Just like our cells. But what happens? The seeds are very protected from that process. In fact, the seeds can live for years after the fruit has died. And guess what? These seeds contain 20 to 30 times more nutrients than what the fruit had in the first place. And so that's where the purpose of seed-based nutrition comes from. And so when we go back to looking at how the green zone, the blue zones, nuts and beans, they're all seeds. They're full of dense nutrition. You had something in there, all of the cytokines and all the different cytokinins and all the pro-cytokinins, all the things, long names all the chemicals that actually is good for our body. That is where food is medicine, in the fruits and vegetables and in the seeds. What can we do this week? Prepare a healthy meal, okay? Remove those seasoning cubes from your closet, from your kitchen. Buy fresh produce. Walk daily and practice stress reduction. And what are you going to do this month for me? Get your ABCs checked, okay? Call your doctor's office, get your ABC checked, and build consistent habits for the next 3 months. I think if you do that and you continue following our webinar, the first step I want you to do after this call is call your doctor tomorrow morning, schedule that appointment. Just do that one step. They will do the rest. They know why you're coming. They will take good care of you. Thank you very much. And we have questions here. We have this email that you can email us. For those of you who don't get your questions answered and maybe you wrote it down or you're thinking too much, you can always email us 24/7. We're not going to answer 24/7, but we're going to look at it and review it and answer you back. All right, very good. Back to you, Ruby.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for that insightful, informative presentation per usual. We certainly appreciate you. We are going to open the chat for questions or take questions from the chat, open the floor for chat. We appreciate all of you guys hanging with us for the past few minutes here. This is your time now. You have a surgeon here on the call with us. He's very, very, well-versed in these topics. So if you have any questions for him, feel free to go ahead and toss your hand up or just drop your question in the chat. And hang on.
I see a hand raised. Can you see?
I do see, I might ask Mr. And there's also one in the chat as well. And I see, okay. Jerry, if you could please unmute yourself. And what is your question for Dr. Beckles?
Dr. Beckles, thank you very much. Excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
In terms of wearables and wearable devices to do this tracking that you mentioned, what would you recommend, or which devices would you recommend?
So these devices, when they came out a few years ago, the FDA had to sort of put a stop on it, right? Because then you have hundreds and thousands of companies just rolling out devices randomly. And so it's going through this process that finally it took 13 or 14 meta-analysis and data that now the FDA actually approve of it. So I can't give you, we can go over what do you need? Do you need a blood pressure monitoring? Do you need, diabetes monitoring? These all have to go through the FDA today to make it safe for you. So your doctor cannot prescribe something that's not FDA approved. So your doctor will know, depending on what your first blood draw shows, if maybe your A1C is normal, you don't need anything. Maybe your blood pressure is normal. Maybe your cholesterol is totally normal. You don't need anything. Congratulations, but you're never going to know until you check. So after you check, if it's uncontrollable, then they can give you a wearable device or advice what can be prescribed. Some of those devices are actually paid for by your insurance company today, because that's what insurances are paying for today. Prevention rather than the $100,000 bill that they have to pay if you show up with a stroke.
Very good.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, check with my doctor based on what my numbers are, and then make a
Do you know your
determination.
numbers? Do you know your numbers? You want to share it with us?
It varies over time.
Okay, very good, very good. Yes, your doctor will be able to prescribe FDA. This blood pressure cuff, this blood pressure watch, Apple Watch just came out last month. So you couldn't have purchased it until, well, maybe you can purchase it in Europe, but in America, FDA have full regulations on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have a question from the chat from iPhone user, and they would like to know, are there any proven herbal treatments that lower blood pressure? Anything that's proven in particular?
Absolutely. There are a lot of herbal medicines. I mean, the one that comes to mind is beet. I mean, just beet itself contains nitric oxide. And now you look at beet, it's a vegetable, right? It's a seed also, if you think about it, right? And it's red, right? It's beet. Now, how often do you drink beet or go to the grocery store, you buy it, you have to wash it well, right? And so again, that will definitely, because it has nitric oxide in it. It's a nitric oxide booster. It produces nitric oxide, and that helps to lower blood pressure. But there's a lot of foods out there under the functional food certification that they can take you off your normal blood pressure medications that doctors put you on and transition you into functional medicine herbs, and proven over the last 20 to 40 years of just food-based nutrition that can help your blood pressure decrease. But just by stopping the salt, eating fruits and vegetables, walking more can lower your blood pressure. The one that comes to mind is beet, and I think on Amazon, beet is just like taking a storm. All different forms of beet, exist out there today.
Very good. Thank you. I actually have a question for you, Dr. Beckles.
Go ahead.
In my line of work, when a patient when they're interested in change, but they don't know where to start, like they might feel a little unsure or overwhelmed, one of the concepts that seem to work really well for us in my line of work is having them start by not adding something new, but taking something away, right? So rather than saying, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times this week or whatever the case may be, something they want to add, we recommend stopping something. Well, how about you not have that bowl of potato chips each night? What are your thoughts on that concept in terms of, is that a good place to start for folks that feel overwhelmed? And have you seen that work in your line of business?
Absolutely. Well, that's what this whole talk was about is removing salt. Just
Mhm.
removing salt. Just throw away those Maggi cubes, those salt-filled bouillons that's supposed to bring so much flavor, but it's really salt. You're really just adding salt to a lot of things. So when you look at salt, potato chips, just make sure if you're making popcorn, which is a grain, my kids love it because they're like, popcorn is part of grain. Yay, we can have popcorn, right? Yeah, but no salt. I didn't say put this salty butter, cut the salt. You can have as much popcorn as you want, right? But no salt, right? So taking away the salt is the first step. Simple. I'm not saying to go cold turkey and be zero, but cut it by half, then cut it by half, and then cut it by half. And before you know it, you don't miss it.
I would have
It's
to.
so simple.
Yeah, a step down process.
Step
You know,
down.
it's interesting because one of the things I remember from the first session was your response to the question of sort of what you drink. And I think you were addressing coffee. And I think this is in line with that, where you mentioned that it's not the coffee that's the issue. It's all the stuff and the sugar and the cream that you put in the coffee.
Right.
So I will say that I have stuck with my coffee this week and I've been drinking it black. So thank you for that.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
How
We
about
taking
that?
something that's all natural and then we're adding all these artificial milk that sits not even in the refrigerator. So I don't even know what it is because it's not even refrigerated. It says it's milk something, and you're putting that in the coffee. And so that balance of nature with artificial and then processed sugars in there, it just takes away all the good effects of what coffee is supposed to do. But yes, good point. Removing things,
It's a good place to start. Absolutely.
good place to start.
You also mentioned if you have insurance to take advantage of the perks of having insurance, what would you recommend for folks that do not have insurance?
So the sites I showed you, you look at New York Health and Hospital Corporation, which is one of the largest hospital system out there. You look at Kings County, Coney Island, Metropolitan. You're looking at big hospital system. They are for the city, by the city. It's all free. It doesn't matter if you're, status, anything. It's free. You just go on the website, New York Well, and you would get all the information. Everybody have a cell phone. You make an appointment. You show up. They will get all the screening done for free. They prefer to pay for you to get your ABCs checked and your cancer screening checked for free rather than you show up next week with a massive colon cancer that needs emergent surgery and spend $100,000. Think about that. That's the difference. And chemotherapy, another $100,000 for chemo. They're gonna pay for all that, or you're gonna die, and that's just sad, right? So it's all preventable, and these are all out there for you. My focus also is on the people who have insurance but are so busy with the double jobs and excuses and not getting their ABC checked and not getting their cholesterol checked and not getting their colon cancer and their mammogram and keep putting it off and keep putting it off. And guess what? And then it happens. And then they want to know, why am I 40 years old with breast cancer? That's spread. And not realizing that the stress can also cause cancer early. That's all. The stress, the rev up of the immune system that wasn't meant to be turned on constantly. And then you add the no sleep to that, and you just keep adding on insult to injury.
Very good. Thank you.
Somebody have their arm up, their hand up.
Miss Shamika Silver-Berry, you have a question for Dr.
Yes, hello. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm a diabetic. Full transparency, I'm a diabetic. And like you were saying earlier, it has nothing to do with like the family, traits. Like, cause my mom, my brother, my sister, like they all have it. I've been dealing with it like about 4 or 5 years. So now, and it's been like a seesaw, basically, as far as the A1C. So I see like 4 different specialists, from endocrinologists, cardiologists, pulmonologists. I see all these doctors. And like you said, insurance will pay for you to see these doctors. It's just you have to make that time to see them, And I don't know, as far as people work schedule, they will give you the time to see these specialists. But it can be overwhelming with dealing with diabetes. Like you said, I also consider diabetes as a silent killer, because you don't see, like, you can eat a whole box of cookies, but you don't feel yourself getting sicker, but your liver, everything, your enzymes, a lot of stuff, is just like breaking down. But my question to you is, as far as balancing the balance and the hidden stress, because I am a happy-go-lucky person. So I don't feel I have stress, but I know I just want to try to find like what ways to look to see, okay, there is stress there, and I need to, control it or try to keep that balance, you know.
Right, absolutely. So again, everybody reacts differently to stress,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some people can wear stress very well, and some people really a little bit of stress and they just want to commit suicide, basically, right? I mean, they just want to end it all, right? So you have these different extremes, and that's why you need to know yourself. This is where knowing yourself comes in. You come into my office and you tell me you're stressed out. Well, I don't know anything about you. You know yourself, so you got to write down what are your priorities for the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to focus. What you think about the most, right, is what exactly you're going to be emotionally connected to. So you want to look at things, but look at the good part of things. Focus on what's great about it. Everything, like the yin and yang. Everything, there's a good and there's a bad. Focus on all the good and gratitude. Start writing, bless you. Start writing.
Bless
Start
you.
write, bless you. Start writing in a gratitude journal. Focus on the positive things in your life. Focus on everything that's good. Get your A1C checked every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But for sure, you have to take steps in order to improve your diabetes. We talk about in my last talk, and good news for everybody here is that all of these are tape sessions that's on the same Health Forum site that you can see a copy. So if you miss the diabetes talk, you can go back and look at it. It gives you exactly step by step what to do and what not to do.
Okay.
And how much sugar is allowed in 24 hours,
Right.
how to read the labels. Are you still drinking soda?
No, I haven't been drinking soda, and I stopped like 5 years ago. Actually,
Excellent.
my younger daughter actually got me to stop drinking, and I'm a good advocate for it. It's just that, like, sometimes it can be overwhelming. It can definitely be overwhelming to where it's like, I'm tired, but you have to you gotta keep fighting.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mr. Shafiq, but there's someone who doesn't have their
Yeah, so
audio muted.
the main thing again is to go back, send us questions that you have really dedicated. You
Right.
want to take 15 minutes and start meditating. Just shut everything off. The brain is just like, anything that's turned on, just like a car. You can't keep it running forever, right? You turn it off. How do you turn it off? You just meditate. Close your eyes. Don't think about anything else. Go through meditation. There's thousands of videos on how to meditate. Just do the first step. Take
Right.
15 minutes and just turn it off. Turn it off. Turn your brain off. That stress was not meant to be turned on 24/7. Get your
Right.
7 hours, 8 hours of sleep. Okay, you have to get sleep. I talk to people all the time, like, oh, I only get 3 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, and I'm not a sleeper.
What do you mean you're not a sleeper? We were created to sleep. So you have to get that sleep. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, if you try to get your diabetes under control, your blood pressure, and you don't sleep,
Yeah.
let me show you how important sleep is. You could go maybe, I think the Guinness World Record for not eating is like 300 and something days, right? The guy lost 170 pounds.
Ooh.
Try not sleeping for 5 days straight and see what happens to you.
Mm-mm.
Just stay up. Just try and stay up and don't even get an hour sleep and see what happens.
Mm-mm.
That's
I
to
know
tell
I
you.
need sleep. I know I need more. I know I need more.
But that's it.
Yeah.
There's no medicine in the world that can help you if you don't get your
Get the
sleep.
sleep. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could pour thousands of dollars into health bills, like you're seeing all these specialists, but it's useless if you don't do the simple thing. Like I just showed you, it's one of the 8 things you have to do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
If you don't do that, you need to see a sleep expert. Throw away the cardiology consult, the endocrine.
Right.
You see that person first, and when that's fixed, everything will actually get better.
And you know what's so crazy? I did do that like about 3 years ago. I did the sleep apnea thing, the sleep test and everything like that. And I mean, I went to sleep and I slept. You know, it was just, I guess they figured it wasn't that, but I just need to, like you said, I need to put myself to sleep. Like, you know, and one thing I know is to stop eating late at night. Like, whoo, that is really, really, really important. Because like you said, your body burned. Your
Do you
body's
have a
still
TV in your
burning.
bedroom? Do you have a TV in your bedroom?
I do.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that. That's the
But
first thing.
it'll go off. It'll definitely go.
No,
Working
that's a
my
bad
job,
habit.
working
Right
my
there, that's a
job,
bad
it'll go
habit.
off.
Listen, I'm a cardiac surgeon. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I could afford 1,000 TVs, but I don't mean to say I need to have one in my
Right.
bedroom and get on into that bad habit. I need to get my sleep. I need to be
Yeah,
fresh the next
yeah.
day. So when people tell me about all these problems, all I have to ask them is one question. You have a TV in your bedroom?
Right.
Well, I could tell you what's going on. I could tell you how that habit is working out.
Yeah. So 2 things that I definitely can take away from this is the meditation and more sleep.
Yes,
And
hit up,
definitely more sleep.
check out the last webinar on
Okay.
diabetes, and all the
Yes.
steps are in there.
I will.
Take it to
Thank you
heart.
so much. I
and here's-
appreciate it.
Here's the happy help.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Shamika, maybe you can start by the thing you take away is the television in the bedroom. You can start there.
Slow baby steps, baby steps, baby
No, babe.
steps.
You said that's a leap. I can't do that. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. I think Mr. Davis has his hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something in terms of that question. And I've got a good friend of mine. We've been friends for decades. And one of the things I think that's been really helpful to me in terms of controlling stress, we have this little saying amongst ourselves, which is control that which is in your control. And we say it, F everything else. That's sort of, you know, you say the first, we finish up with it. So I think one way in which I'm able to deal with stress sometimes is really determining, is this something that I have some control over? And if you don't have control over something, maybe it's the things that you have control over that may even impact that. So you focus on doing things that can have an impact and spending time there.
Mhm.
I want to say that in a little bit different ways, the same thing. Write down your 3 goals that you're going to accomplish today. That's going to have the biggest impact on every aspect of your 8 dimensions, and get them done. And when you're done, you would feel so lively and you will be accomplished that you got those 3 big goals done, that it has to align with what your mission and your purpose is in life. And you will feel so gratified. And write it down in your journal and journal what you did and how grateful you are for the people, for everything. And the next day, just get ready to do those things again. That is like what Mr. Davis just said, impactful in your life, helping others, creating something new for the environment, doing something great. Just keep on doing great things, but focus. Just write it down. Write down your to-do list. I do that all the time.
Very good. Thank you. I think for me, deep breaths, and you can do that anywhere, intentional breathing has fundamentally changed my life. So that's my little advice there. All right, we have a question from Lincoln. Yes, Lincoln, please unmute. What is your question?
Sure. Doc, do you give any credence to the thought that Black folks are predisposed to high blood pressure due to the the trip from Africa to the Caribbean to the Americas?
So when you look at, what happened to us all over the world, everybody, look, wars are going on right now as we speak. People are in the middle of a war. We talk about post-traumatic. I just showed you a slide on generational stress. Generational stress is stress that handed down from our grandparents, great-great-grandparents, to parents, and stuff that we're still focusing on the negative aspect and not turning it around and looking at how far we have come. What is the positive side of that trip across the ocean that we're able to benefit from it, right? It's yes, that could have something to do with it, but it's how we have the choice of what we want to look at, the glass half full or the glass half empty. If you choose to look at the glass half empty every day when you wake up, yeah, you're going to have high blood pressure, all right. And when you say it's because of what happened to people that you maybe never met, I mean, sure. I mean, why not focus on gratitude and positivity that we are all here. We have the same opportunity that we have to give our kids and the next generation. What we had Obama. I mean, we have all these people in high places that keeps going up the ladder. That's like great. So look at the positivity. So yes, it could have something to do with high blood pressure if you keep focusing on it. But if you're white and you come from a oppressed background the same way and you keep thinking about it, that's also going to give a white person high blood pressure. It's what you think about is what you become.
Yeah, very true. And that to piggyback off of that, there's a lot of work being done now on epigenetics as well, and how those things kind of carry over, or how, you can actually break that chain from one generation to the next. And a lot of it sometimes is mind over matter. I think it's a really fascinating subject. So, okay,
Yep.
One more hand raised, but I think she may have put her hand down.
All right, that's me.
Okay, go right ahead.
Hi. So, Dr. Beckles, I don't have a question. I just really I want to thank you for what you're doing. I wanted to say, I guess I'll start off by saying that knowledge is power, right? And I lost my mother to a massive stroke at the age of 49. She was 49 years old. Prior to having that massive stroke, she went through a series of mini strokes. And I just think about if I knew what I know now, I could have been a better advocate for her. So thank you.
That's what this is about. You make my blood crawl right now. I mean, that's what this is about. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I can save more lives if people get this word out. It's so simple to do, but it's simple not to do. And the people that are most affected are not the high income people. It's everybody. It's people where I started in humble beginnings. And so we can impact our communities and our families and our friends to adopt a new mindset of how they look at health, to get screened and be aggressive. I want kids and parents, anybody who have family and friends who had a stroke, you have a very high risk, a 33% chance of having a second stroke. Let's prevent that second stroke from happening. Please, if you survive the stroke, you got to prevent the second and third and fourth stroke. The mini stroke is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We have the ability today to remove all these risk factors. We can get rid of diabetes. We can get rid of hypertension. We can get rid of high cholesterol. We have all the technology for the first time in history. We could lose 100 pounds. We got medications to fix that too. So let's be proactive. Thanks for that comment.
Thank you. Maurice, I saw that you turned your camera on. Did you have a question for Dr. Beckles?
You're muted.
Oh, no, I didn't have a question. I was just, I'm a teacher as well. A lot of times the etiquette is you got to turn your camera on when you're in the discussion. So turn my camera on. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. If we don't have any more questions, actually, Mr. Davis, did you have another question, comment for us?
You're muted.
Oh,
Harris, you're muted.
You're muted.
It has to happen, right? You just don't go through one without someone. So no, I just wanted to take a moment to piggyback on Katina's comment and Dr. Beckles' response. This is something that Dr. Beckles is so passionate about. And I have an ask for those who are here. This is a free seminar, a forum where we're looking to impact our communities as much as possible. Every month, and we have topics all the way through 2026. And we want to build this platform so that we can actually have an impact. That is what the Caribbean American Society of New York, working with Trinbago, it's all about. And so what I'm asking is, for those of you who feel that this is beneficial and you're taking away something from it, invite a friend, invite a family member, share the information. We're going to be getting out the next flyer. We want to build this platform so that we're reaching much more people, and we're looking for partnerships. And what I mean by that is, if you're a part of a fraternity or a sorority, your church, if you're in a group and you would like to come on board to assist us in, being a co-sponsor or just getting this information out, just reach out to us. You can email us, and we'd love to have you on board. It's something that you can offer to your group and to your organization to just have them join this. And let's make 2026 the year in which we really put a stake in and make a difference in terms of our health, improving us. Jerry had asked the question, but one of the things Jerry always says is your health is your wealth. And that's the wealth building, I think, that's going to take us in this community furthest. So that is an ask from Dr. Beckles, from myself, and from Ms. Mango, who, passionately, I think, is bringing this to the group.
thank you. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Beckles, per usual. Okay. That was extremely informative. Again, lots of meat there. You're leaving the folks with a lot of, great information. And, if you guys have any questions, where to start, any additional resources, go ahead and use the email that Dr. Beckles put up on his last slide. And we're going to check periodically and get back to you as we go throughout each week. Okay. Again, maybe not the same day, but there are going to be 3 of us laying eyes on that inbox. So just keep that in mind.
I just put the email on the chat so people could take a picture of it with their phone if they would like to email us, and we will answer your questions.
Perfect.
Okay. And if any topics you want to hear for the upcoming year that you think is going to be impactful for our community, just let us know. Send us your feedback.
Perfect. Absolutely. Or if you have any questions, if you share this with someone, you try to impart some knowledge and they have questions, you feel like you can't answer them, again, drop them in email and we'll lay eyes on them for you. Okay. So thank you, everyone. In closing, on
Excuse
behalf,
me, Ruby, can I make a quick comment?
Yes,
If you or
absolutely.
Horace could indicate where the recording will be saved or shared, so people who, if we want to share the recording with friends or family, how can we access that and get that out?
That is for you, Mr. Davis.
It is being shared on the YouTube channel. And it's something that if you were at the last session, an email was sent out, and that email has a link to the previous recording. And we'll work to get an email out that would have the link here. But it's to our YouTube channel is where it's going to be accessed.
Thank you. I
Thank
actually
you.
did, You're welcome. One last hand, and I'm not sure, Dr. Beckles, if you have time for one last question, but it looks like Sharice.
Yes,
Had a-
go ahead, please.
Are you still there, Sharice? No.
Yes, hi. Hi, sorry. I would just want to know, Dr. Beckles, it would be great if you have a discussion on kidney health, because we know how high blood pressure leads to unfortunately, the death of kidneys. So for the once Mr. Davis said to have maybe a collaborative with organization, and I am part of an organization where we do health topics almost every month. So I was wondering if you do anything on kidney.
Yes, I do
Mhm.
speak on kidney because that is the accumulation of uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled high blood pressure, and that leads to the number one cause of why people are on kidney dysfunction. And as a cardiac surgeon, I give webinars on that every year on,
Yeah.
kidney disease, especially for kidney World Kidney Day, right? That's coming up next year. So every year I give talks on that. So you can always we may be doing something on that too. I have to look at my calendar and see what we're doing, but just send us a little email and we'll get back to you.
Well, I will be in contact. I know for the past few years we have been doing kidney Sundays at
Yes.
churches, because our organization is based in Queens, New York, Southeast Queens, New York. So we've been doing kidney Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be great for us to get this information out to the community. We do Red Heart Month, which is February.
Yes.
So I'm gonna definitely be reaching out for some collaboration. And thank you, Mr. Davis, for saying that.
Most
I just
welcome.
have to make
Thank you.
I'd like to make a last comment. My name is Stanley Richards, and that's my vice president from one of our sororities. And I'm so happy that she's on. And I feel so proud. I'm smiling. I wish you could see my face, but I'm covering it. But Sharice, thank you so
Yes.
very much.
Yes, Sora Stanley. I was wondering if that was you.
You know I'm there. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right then.
Very good.
And Dr. Beckles, I just want to say I met you last month at the Trinidad and Tobago Alliance. I was actually the MC.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I was the
Okay.
young lady who was the MC for the Trinidad and Tobago Alliance function last month.
Excellent.
With
Well, it's a
Dr.
small
Keeney
world,
and-
right? Here we go. Here we
Yes,
are.
a small world. Okay. Okay then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm glad we didn't close out because I would have missed that reunion. All right. Sharice, we look forward to your email. Thank you. Any last questions or comments before I close it? Okay. So in closing, on behalf of Casoni and Trimbago Progressive Association of the USA, we hope you enjoyed this session and leave inspired to continue prioritizing your health and wellness and continue to share these series with your friends and family and all that good stuff. Spread the word over the next few months and all of next year again. Well, all of next year, next few months leads into all of next year. We have plenty of topics coming up, okay? So thank you all for your time and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Beckles, and thank you, Horace Davis.
Thank
Everyone,
you,
please
thank
have
you,
a
thank
happy
you.
holidays.
Yes.
You too. You
That's
too.
right.
Enjoy.
That's right. Happy holidays, all. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mango.
Happy holidays. Get your physical activity too. That'll help you with your sleep.
All right.
That's right. That's right.
No screen time 20 minutes before bed. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you,
Right.
Mr. Hayden.
We
Appreciate
got
you.
fast learners on this call. Fast learners. I love it.
Doc, you're already having an impact.
Yeah, instant. It's instant.
Instant impact.
Yeah. Get together in groups. If you've got folks in an area, I mean, that might be the next step.
Yeah, I'm a member.
Good night,
of,
everyone.
Good night.
Take care.
Good
Have a
one.
good one.
Take care.
Thank you, Maurice.
No problem.